Hey there, I'm Daryl the artist, and I've been asked by John Deere to come up with some tutorials for his new digitizing program, Design Doodler. Great program, very intuitive. As a cartoonist, I love this program. I like digitizing my cartoon drawings, and I spent a lot of time doing it in other programs, but this program is very intuitive, very quick, nice and easy. You know, it might not have all the bells and whistles of all the big expensive programs, but it's perfect for what I do. So I did a few things to help me out here, as it all depends on what size of tablet or monitor you're using and what scale you're working at. It's hard to get a true representation of what the stitches will look like when stitched out. That's true of any embroidery program that I've seen. So to help myself out with choosing which size stitch and what type of stitch I want to use for my cartoon drawings, I've created myself a bit of a template here showing all the different brush tools except for the applique brush. I've got the tapered here and all the sizes that are available within the menu. Calligraphy, pressure sensitive, the steel stitch, the bean stitch, run stitch, and a few of the densities that are available. You see you have 0.5 millimeter, 1 millimeter, 2, 2.5, 3, 4, and 6. Well, I can choose any width within any of that range, even if I want to go 2.5. It's just that is not available in the menu options, but you can edit it in properties that are like, say, I think, well, my drawing will look great with a 2 or a 1.5 millimeter stitch. But my only options in the program is a 1 and a 2. Well, that's not right. You can do a 1.5. You just have to change it in your properties afterwards. Anyways, this really helps me figure out which type of stitch I'm going to use for my drawing. So this is the drawing I'm going to do for my first tutorial, beginner's tutorial. It's a nice drawing of a baby. It's a baby. And we're going to digitize that. So let's get to her. Okay, well, let's open up Design Doodler. There we go. Let's maximize that. Okay, we are going to put my hoop in there. I'm going to center that using the 1-to-1. So I've already set up the hoop. It's a 5x7 or a 130 by 180 millimeter hoop. And I am going to load backdrop or import image, however you want to think about it. And I'm going to grab the baby and I'm going to bring the baby in. The baby's bigger than my hoop, but when I printed it out, I already printed it out at basically the same size. I reduced the file in my drawing program to 110 millimeters wide and printed it out that way. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to grab my properties. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to make sure I've got maintain my aspect ratio chosen, and I'm going to reduce my opacity down to around 20%. And then I am going to go into my width. Oops, I'm not there yet. There I am. Go into my width and change that to 110 millimeters. And then I'm going to move that down into my hoop. And there, it fits nicely. And that's going to be the same size as the drawing I printed out, which I'm going to be using as a reference. So, I also like to have a different color for my background. I find that works well. Let's bring that in closer again. It allows me to see the colors better. And also, before I start going, I like to have my properties set up over here just underneath my stitches. And I like to open up my sequence view and move that over here. And I like to leave those open the whole time I'm digitizing. And if I want to access my colors, I just click on and off for my colors. And I don't leave it out all the time. So now I want to look at my drawing. I know it's going to fit inside my hoop, so what am I going to draw first? I'm going to probably draw, let's draw the head first. I'm going to go around the soother. I'm going to cut holes in for the eyes. And then I am going to do the upper body and then the legs. And I'm going to just use basically the defaults for most of this drawing to make it really simple. So we can get into stitch lengths and other stuff like that later on in one of the other tutorials. But for now, I'm just going to go with most of the defaults. Okay, so let's get going here. Let's go 1 to 3 and see how close that gets me. I want to be able to fit the whole head in my screen because I need to draw the whole head. And it doesn't quite fit, so I'm going to grab the magnifying glass. I'm going to go up to my properties, and I'm going to reduce that until the head completely fills in the space. I don't have to draw outside to get the head done. So now that whole object fits within my screen. Now I can draw it out. Okay, I'm going to choose my fill. I'm going to do density of 0.4 millimeters, and I'm going to choose my color number 25 for my skin tone. And I'm going to start down at the bottom. So when I connect to the objects below, I don't have to worry about changing the start and stop. So I'm going to draw up and around smoothly, trying to stay under that black line because that's what's going to hide the edge of my fill later. And I'm going to try and be as smooth as possible. And if I'm not, I can always go in and adjust nodes later. But I'm just going to take it slow. I draw it nice and smooth. I'm going to go around the soother. And I'm going to come back up here and finish that off. Okay, now let's put 3D on for a sec. Perfect. That's what I want. Okay. Now I'm not going to play around with the changing the densities around, but I will have to put in underlay. Let's get rid of that color menu. Okay, so there's two ways for me to select. I can choose the arrow down here and click on the head and my properties come up, or I can go up here and choose it from my sequence view. And when you have a lot of objects on your drawing, the sequence view works perfect for that. I'm going to go to underlay and I'm going to put in a perpendicular and a contour. And that adds a couple hundred stitches into it. But if you can see clearly on the screen, it adds some structure below. It's kind of like the bones of the object. Okay, so now I've got my object selected. And I'm going to go into add holes. Okay, with holes, you basically just click around the object that you want to cut out. You can't do left and right clicks to get curved nodes. Everything's a straight node. So if you have a curve, depending on the curve, you have to adjust the space between your nodes to cover that curve. It becomes, once you use it a couple times, it's easy. So I'm just going to go click, click, and I'm going to go around that eye. And it's a bit of a curve, so I'm keeping my nodes close together. And when I get to the end, I'm going to go down and hit my Add Hole button. And that gives me a hole. Okay, so now I'm going to reselect that object, and I'm going to do Add Holes again. I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye. Oops, I think my camera just fell. Okay, put that back. Okay, continue on here. Go around the eye, and then click on the Add Hole button, and double check on 3D, and boom, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to do the rest of the flesh tone. the upper body and the legs. And we're going to connect that with the run stitch. Okay, I'm going to move this guy up. And now I want to do the upper body and the legs. And I'm going to run a run stitch just down to this area here. And then I am going to do a fill, starting at that same area. And I'm going to go around the upper body, again, as smooth as possible, but also not worrying too much about it because I can always adjust the nodes. Believe me, when you first start using this program, you're going to have to adjust nodes. You have to get a feel for how to draw in the program. Okay, there we go. We've got our other object. I'm going to grab that object through my sequence menu. I'm going to go down and I'm going to do the same underlay as I did on the previous one. Okay, so now I want to go another run stitch from the bottom of that. I want to make sure I'm not too close to it. Doesn't think I'm trying to do something else. Okay, now I'm going to create a fill for the bottom legs. The bottom legs, the only legs. And go around, back up. And that looks good. Okay, I want to grab that. And I want to put an underlay on there. And then I am going to look at my 3D. Let's do a pan on that. That's what I've got so far. That's perfect. Okay. Now I am going to do the orange and the highlights of the soother. So let's go 1 to 6 and see if that fits in there. Oh, let's turn 3D off because it's a lot quicker without 3D. Oh yeah, it fits in there just perfect. Okay, let's close up that color. And we're going to start a new color. So let's go. Same density. I'm going to choose a nice orange, dark orange. And I am going to, doesn't matter where I start this fill because it's the only one of this color. I'm going to start down here. And go around just touching the flesh tone. There we go. And I want to change the angle of that. The angle on the flesh is basically 0 degrees. This one I want to go somewhat like a 45-degree angle. So when you use your angle adjust, you move both nodes to get the proper angle. I don't know why you have to move both nodes, but you do. You have to move both nodes. And then I want to select that and put an underlay on there. And take a quick look at 3D. And there we go. Looks good. Okay, so now I have a little bit of highlights on there. And these are I'm just going to do with run stitches. I'm going to grab a run stitch. I'm going to grab, well, I've got that object selected, so let's unselect that object first. Then we grab a run stitch. Then I'm going to grab bright yellow. And I'm going to start to draw run stitches. And I'm just going to throw a few in there. Nothing too crazy. And then I'm going to like that. Let's take a look at 3D. Perfect. That's what I want to look for. Okay, so let's go back to 1-to-1. Okay, now we've got the blue. Oh no, we can continue on with the yellow because we're going to use that yellow in his hair. Let's do that. Let's go 1 to 6. Let's grab the pan tool. Let's move down. Can we fit that hair in there? No, we can't. So let's grab the, get rid of that color there. Let's grab the zoom. Whoa, what's going down there? The zoom moved me. It's moved me. Okay, I'm just going to do a run stitch here too. Whenever you use the pan, remember you have to reselect your brush tool. Okay, now I'm going to draw run stitches on there, and I'm just going to draw them here. I'm not going to pull up my pen, but he just has wisps of blonde hair. So I don't need to do too much here. So the run stitch will be perfect for adding in just that little bit of detail of wispy hair. That's it. I think that'll look fun. Yeah. Okay. Now let's go down and do those diapers. Okay, this is the point. If it's a girl or a boy, you can go blue, pink, or if you just want to keep it yellow even, you can still go yellow or green. This is going to be a boy, so I'm going to do it blue. So let's grab our fill. Let's grab a nice blue. Actually, no, not right now, because I'm going to use blue in the eyes. So why don't I do the eyes first? We'll do the white of the eyes, and then the darker blue, and then the lighter blue, and that lighter blue will become part of the diapers. Oh, okay, so let's go a little bit closer in here. Let's zoom in a little bit more. I want to come down here, and I want to choose my fill. Okay, and I want to grab all those objects, and I want to put an underlay on that. Okay, now I want to do darker blue. Let's unselect the white, and let's now go to a fill. Let's choose darker blue. Let's choose 44 on here. Let's zoom in there too. Oops, I lost my properties. Let's zoom in. There we go. Let's go fill. Okay, I'm going to want to adjust the nodes on this one. I didn't like where I put that there. Let's do that. Let's adjust the nodes on that. Let's go. Click that. Adjust the nodes. I want that to be up a little higher. Okay, let's do the same thing on the other side. Let's unselect. Let's do a fill here. We're going to come down here. Okay. Oh, I want to adjust the angle of that. Yes, adjust the angle of that. Adjust the angle of that one. Adjust the angle of that one. Adjust the angle of that one. Okay, now I want to adjust the angle of this one. And I want to adjust the angle of this one. Come on, there we go. Okay, now I want to do the light blue. So let's deselect that. Let's get more fill. And let's go for that nice 46 color. I want to make sure I'm on top of the other blue. Make sure I'm going under that black. Perfect. Now I want to adjust back to a nice 45-degree angle the other way. And I want to do the same on this side. And I want to select that, change the angle. So yeah, let's look and see what that looks like now. Perfect. That looks good. Okay, and the black will tighten all that up. Okay, let's go down to the diapers now. Oh, perfect size. It fits in there perfectly. Let's go fill. I'm still on the light blue I want. Oh, maybe I will get rid of that. Okay. And it doesn't matter where I start. I'm going to make sure I'm under the black line, but I am touching the flesh tone as much as I can. Help lock in that color. And there we go. And what I want to do on that is I definitely want to add underlay on that. And I want to change that to a 90-degree angle. Get this out of the way. Let's go up. And let's go up. Straight up and down on that. Okay, perfect. Let's go 1 to 1 now. Okay, now we're coming to my favorite part. It's the black outline. And so I've got my reference here on my drawing, and I'm looking at the lines I want to do. And I have my template for stitches. So I think for the details in the inner part of the face that aren't going to be connected to the outline, I am going to use a 1mm tapered brush stitch. And then for the outline, I'm going to use, initially I'm going to use a 2mm steel stitch. And I know I said I was going to use defaults, but I'm looking at the drawing here and the size of the steel stitch, and actually I think 2 might work out perfect. I was thinking of maybe changing it to 1.5, but which is not a default. But I think I'm going to keep it at 2. I think that's going to work out just fine. Anyways, again, this is my favorite part. Let's get going. Okay, here we go. We are going to collect. I am going to, actually, I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to go 1 to 3. Whoops. I just did myself a stitch. Don't want to do that. 1 to 3, I'm going to grab myself a 1mm tapered stitch. And I'm going to draw around that eye. Back up. Now I'm going to do a fill stitch, same color black, and do that inside that eye. Okay, I don't know why it did that. It turned it white. Let's try something different here. Let's get in a little closer here. Let's go 1 to 6. Shouldn't have done that. I'm going to go there. I'm going to go black, and I'm going to, well, stay away from that white. There we go. That works. Okay, so I'm not going to do a underlay on that. It's not a lot enough stitches. I'm going to go back to my tapered edge, and I'm going to draw around. And I'm going to draw back around this way. Okay, I don't like the way that one worked out. Let's see if I can adjust the nodes on that one. Let's go in here. Don't want that color. I want, let's change that. That down to there. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, now I can do a fill. Around the black. Okay, why isn't it not taking it? Come on, let's go. Come on. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so now let's go back to my tapered edge. Go up here. Okay, I don't know why it's still hanging on to that. Let's go over here. There we go. Let's go another black, tapered edge. Let's go over here. Let's do another black, tapered edge. Right, I'm going to throw a couple more lines in there. There we go. That should all connect together. And now I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to come down to the hair. And let's go back into doing this. I'm going to start from the side up so I can see it better. Let's go over to here. Go over to here. Yes, I think that looks really good. Okay, that's enough of the tapered edge. Now I can get into the steel stitch for the outline. And I'm just going to double check if I want the 2mm steel stitch. And I think I do. It looks thick. It'll look thick on the screen, but I think it'll be fine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's go 1 to 6. And let's go 1 to 3. Yeah, that worked better. And then I am going to choose my steel stitch. I'm going to choose 2mm, and I'm going to choose the color red. Because the automatic branching will only branch things of the similar, it has to be the same brush tool, and it has to be the same width. So my other black isn't a steel stitch, so I'm going to do the steel stitches in red. So then I can gather them all up as one, branch them together, and then turn it black afterwards, and that way it won't affect the other black that's in there. So let's start with the nose. And you'll be able to see the red easier. And I am not going to try and connect any of these lines together. I'm going to do each one kind of a separate, as if it was its own separate stitch. And I'm not going to worry about how it looks too much on the screen, because when I branch it, it should take care of most of the problems. Not saying there'll be problems, but I'm just saying it'll look a lot better. Okay, so let's go up here. I'm trying to follow within that line as best I can. And also worrying about that I'm covering up the fill that's below it. That one there I could probably redo. Let's do the undo button. I want to have that cover a little bit more of that flesh tone than that. Okay, let's go down here. Okay, let's reduce that just a touch. There we go. Now I can see the whole thing. Get my steel stitch again, and now I'm going to do nice smooth line around. So I got the other side. That didn't work out too bad. My hands stuck a bit. I forgot to put my glove on, so I'm going to put my glove on now. But it still worked out fine. Okay, I'm going to go up, grab my steel stitch again, and I'm going to come down that cheek. Now the head is done. Okay, so I think I can fit the rest of the body on the screen. It's a matter of just selecting my steel stitch. And see how those trim lines are, oh, I'm going to undo that one. See how those trim lines are bouncing all over the place? Well, they'll disappear as soon as I branch it all together. Okay. Now I need to do the upper body. Now I'm not going to try and get too fancy. I'm not going to go all around every single corner, because that will do some weird things to the stitches, so I'm not going to worry about that. It'll put some jagged edges on there if I try to do too many curves on one stitch. That worked out fine. And let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. That seems to work fine. And we go down to here. That seems to work good. I think that's it. That's it. Yes. Okay, now I'm going to select all the red. I'm going to branch all the red. And then I'm going to select all the red again. And I'm going to turn it black. Okay, let's open up the black. Let's expand that out. And we see there's a lot of black. And most of that was from the details within the face, the hair, the ear, the eyes. But when we get down to the last one here, which I did all as separate objects, it is now one single object, 5,600 stitches, one stitch. And I think that looks really good. So I'm going to save that to my USB, and I'm going to take it upstairs to my machine and stitch it out. Well, thanks for joining me on this beginner's tutorial. And here's the final stitch out. I think it looks really good. The only thing maybe I would have done is put a little bit more stitches on the highlights on the soother. But the rest of it I think looks really good. I think for a beginner tutorial to teach you how to use the program, I think this works quite nicely. Well, thanks for joining me. Hope to see you around for the intermediate.